Good morning, everyone. You have signed on to FaceTime Live with the Center for Spiritual Living in Reading, and we're happy that you're joining us today. Dr. Mary is going to be giving our talk in a little bit called The Great Work of Your Life. We look forward to that. But first of all, I have a very sweet announcement that our Damien won first place in his Toastmasters, the next level competition. So now he's in the running for the nationals, and we're really very proud of him. So, yay! We all applaud that. Oh, the room is a roar with happiness. So, if you have a chance to tag him on Facebook and congratulate him, he'd appreciate that support. But we're really proud of it ourselves here. So, right now, I'm just going to go ahead and have us do an opening song with our lovely Dalton Fitzgerald. Dalton?
Bring your love to that I see. Shower me with love and blessings from above. Yeah, I see your radiant face in everyone that knows. Loving presence, voice from within. Showing me the grace to begin. Darkest hour, may I recognize your power and feel your grace as I begin the world again. God, work through me, God, be my strength when I forget who I am, Father, fill my every. Yeah, I always hear the voice that gives you me. Be a precious one, be good. Yeah, I always hear the voice that gives you me. And may your precious love be ever.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for setting the ambiance and the heart for our message today and our time together. I'm Reverend Sue in service today along with Charlie Bourne. He's the one sounding our bell for us to remind you to be centered in that sacred space that you are sitting in right now. A couple of announcements I want to just briefly touch upon. Next week, Reverend Andy Torkelson will be joining us as the speaker, and we look forward to that. His message to you will be the path made clear. He's also going to be starting a class. It's one of the certificated classes that we have with the organization of Centers for Spiritual Living, and he's going to be doing a brand new one called Mental Equivalence. That'll be a Saturday morning class, and we hope to hear from you if you're interested in signing up for that, because it's possibly going to be on Zoom, and we want to make arrangements for that properly. And Dr. Mary has a new class on the history of New Thought called Roots, and that one will be starting May 21st. So look ahead to your calendar, and if you want to spend some time with us in deep spiritual study, these are two avenues that we invite you into. That being said, we're going to move on with our service today with Damien doing our message in the reading, and then we'll do the sounding of the bell, prayer of support and then Mary's lovely message. So, Damien.
Good morning. The reading today is from Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear. She writes, creative living is stranger than other, more worldly pursuits. The usual rules do not apply. In normal life, if you are really good at something and you work hard at it, you will likely succeed. In creative endeavors, maybe not. Or maybe you will succeed for a spell and then never succeed again. You might be offered rewards on a silver platter, even as the rug is being simultaneously pulled out from under you. You might be adored for a while, then go out of fashion. It's important to know your definition of success. I have a friend, an aspiring musician, whose sister said to her one day, quite reasonably, what happens if you never get anything out of this? What happens if you pursue your passion, but success never comes? My friend, with equal reason, replied, if you can't see what I'm already getting out of this, then I'll never be able to explain it to you. When it's for love, you will always do it anyway.
The beautiful sound of the bell. It reminds us of our true home. And as we allow ourselves to be led into the inner temple of our own being, we recognize that here is a place of refuge and rest. And we allow the divine to flow effortlessly through, to inspire us, to awaken us to a greater idea of what is happening here. So we settle into this great, vast love, into this idea of that we're safe, that we are cared for in every way, that we are guided and inspired in every moment. Great work happens when we allow ourselves to simply be, to deeply and reverently listen, to awaken our hearts to the calling of what is ours to do right here and right now. So I give thanks for the work that Dr. Mary put into knowing what she wants to share today, knowing what her heart is longing for you to hear, so that we all can settle into a new way of being together. So I give thanks for the time of each one of us here, allowing the time to be together in this way. I release this word in gratitude, knowing that all is well and that we are moving forward in a very beautiful way. I release this knowing it's already so. And together we say, and so it is. Dr. Mary?
Thank you. Good morning. I had just shared with Sue how much fun I had writing this talk, and because I like to do creative things, and it's all about creativity, the great work of your life. There was a video posted by our new spiritual leader, Dr. Edward Villion, this week, and he offered this message. There's a unique purpose for every life. Life is meant to be lived only as we can live it. There are fresh ways for us to just answer the call, to pay attention, to listen to that call for freshness and to thrive. When we love what we're doing, time flies by and our work seems effortless. And there is great work in every life to be done. to be expressed through us. But the message from Dr. Edward is never imitate. Be your own true self. I think every one of us have had a time when this idea floated through our minds. Who knows where it came from? And it just floated through, and when we focused on it, we kind of lost track of time. It seemed effortless, and when we actually did the work, it seemed effortless. Well, what Elizabeth Gilbert writes about in her book, Big Magic, it's about that. But she questions us. Do you have the courage to do this work? Do you have the courage to go forth with the treasures that are hidden within you? She believes, and I found out Trower does too, that ideas are swirling all around us in the universe. But Elizabeth talks about it as magic. So these ideas are swirling around and they're looking for a human partner. And they kind of nudge at you. And they kind of say, hey, Damien, can you give this really great speech? And if we're open and relaxed, we might say, you know what? I'll take that idea and I'll move forward with it. So from that point on, the idea works with us. It inspires us. It brings coincidences into our lives that show we're on the right track. We become open and relaxed to this idea, and it even keeps us up in the middle of the night. I know I've had that experience. So when we do take on an idea, a project, what I do is I go to my bookshelf, I start pulling off books, and then if I don't have enough, I go on Amazon and buy more. I want to see that I have all the information I need that fills my need for, am I going forward this in the right way? So then it starts to take shape. And that was how I was stimulated to write my own books that I've done and how they came to be. They were an idea. I just was passionate about it. I could not spend enough hours on it. Ask Paul. So recently I've had another creative experience. In January, there were 3 people who want to take practitioner training in September. Now, these are very dedicated students, but in order to take practitioner training, you have to take 6 consecutive classes. You can't double up. You have to take the 6. And they had only taken 2 so far. And so between that time and the end of August, it was up to me to figure out, could I squeeze 4 classes in a time period that you can usually only do 3. Well, I laid a schedule of back-to-back classes, no time in between. So the classes covered Emerson, Troward, and this Roots history class. Okay, so we finished Emerson. I hope you liked it when you took it. We finished Troward, and that was a challenge. And now we're going directly into Roots. The trouble with Roots, no, not trouble, don't listen, home office, is you go back and you reread Emerson's same essays and Troward's same chapters. And I know if you've taken those, it wouldn't feel very good. You might just want to say, I don't know if I really want to do this. So I know that home office says, be flexible, be creative. If you cover the key points in these materials, that's good enough. So in addition to the work I've been doing here at the center during the week, I fervishly is a good word, recognized that this 120-page workbook was not going to work and that I had to rearrange it totally. And I had to create new homework sheets for all these different essays that we would be doing. We'll do some Emerson essays, but not the ones we've covered. And instead of Edinburgh Lectures, you know in the back of that book, it's called the Dory Lectures. I've never read it. But when I started reading it, they're shorter, they're sharp, they're clear. I was so excited. And so I was doing questions for those. So I think it's going to be fantastic. And I really encourage you, if you haven't read any of the Dory Lectures, they're shorter. Give it a try because there's a great amount of knowledge in there that he writes out in long paragraphs in the Edinburgh Lectures. But in these shorter sentences, they're real punchy, and I think they're really great. But when I was done Friday, rewriting and redoing all of this, I felt like a graduate I thought of the people graduating soon, and I thought, I want to throw my cap up in the air. It's like, yes, this is done. I've done good work. And that's what this creativity is all about. It was also a blessing in disguise because of the Dory Lectures. And the first one I opened was entering into the spirit of it. As spirit begins to open us up through our own thinking process, I think about it like being an author. You thought of an author wanting to write a book. The impression a painter has when he or she wants to do it, paint a picture. The feeling of a musician when, like Dalton, they want to write some music. It starts with this feeling and it builds. You know, if we didn't have our own creative expression and someone just said, do it, it would seem like a meaningless task. But like Troward said, there's this swirl of ideas out there that come to us, and all of a sudden it starts to take form. It seems to just pop into our mind, but then it starts to attract other like ideas that in the end put it all together. This is what we call universal unlimited energy, or unlimited universal energy. It's out there everywhere, and we can tap into it. Troward calls it also a universal principle because we reproduce the thoughts and feelings inside of us into our world. It starts with us. It's the same quality that created the whole universe, a thought. And as the Bible said, and the Word was made known, and the Word was good. The creation was good. So an artist creates something on a blank piece of paper or a canvas that started with a blank piece of canvas, and the idea is swirling, made known what was to go on it. A sculpture starts with a block of clay or maybe a piece of granite, and I think it was Da Vinci who said, yeah, you just chip away till you find the elephant in the granite. You just chip away at it till you find what wants to come forth. It starts with a simple feeling in us. It's not created by outside energy. It's the energy that we use through the universal energy that we are living in, swimming in. There's a moment when that energy taps us and we feel, boom, the creative nature of God. We see in our mind what we want to create, like reorganizing the workbook. And through my passionate way of doing work, it got done. So this is the ability to fully express life when we get these ideas, when we have these magical moments. Because when we're fully expressing life, it's what? Happiness. And happiness implies harmony. And harmony implies order. And order implies proportion. And proportion implies beauty. And it's all wrapped up in a bow of God's love. Another recent example of creativity in my life is when Jim Nelson asked Sue and I to start a Zoom call once a week with the congregation. I felt, oh, my plate is so full. I'm on so many Zoom meetings during the week. I don't know if I can do another one in the evening. But the more Jim talked to us, he said, people really want to feel more connected. They feel so alone. And it's a great way to have a midweek connection. And we started thinking it's almost like the Wednesday service we always wanted to do, but now it would be on Zoom. So the more we talked about it, we all got in the spirit of it. Now, how can we make this happen? A midweek pick-me-up sounded good, but when would we do it? Well, since most people are at home, maybe 10 in the morning might be a good time. What would we talk about? We decided the key points of our Sunday talks and then open it up for discussion. How would we let people know this? Because not everybody gets our weekly email blast. And we thought, a postcard. Let's mail them a postcard. Okay, when do we start? How about next Wednesday? And we all went, yes, we're going to do this. So I designed a postcard, and Lori helped me with that, and she came in and we printed over 400 postcards, we labeled them, and they were in the mail the next morning. Yes, we're doing this. It was a relief to get them in the mail, believe me. But what did I feel after that? Happiness, harmony, order, proportion, beauty, and love. All of those wonderful characteristics that come with creativity. And on Wednesday, 24 people were on the call, and it was wonderful. Everyone shared what was happening with them and had a discussion about Sue's key points on her Sunday talk, and we hope you would enjoy it with us next Wednesday at 10 o'clock. So contact Jim Nelson at nelsonfacilitation@gmail.org, and he will give you the code to get in to the Zoom meeting. He's so excited about this. But you know what? It's the personal factor. It's what Trevor talks about, the personal factor. None of this would happen if we didn't decide to do something. It would not have happened spontaneously. It's the personal factor. We are microcosms of the creative energy in the universe, each one of us. It's amazing. Now, not all people realize this, that we are that powerful and that creative. But it's why science of mind, this philosophy, is so valuable and so important. And maybe because I've been in it so long, I wonder, why do people then put out such negative thoughts and words? For example, on Facebook, it's easy to find a hate-filled Facebook message that blames the world for everything and hating people and being derogatory about other people. We believe in the law of cause and effect. We believe that what we feel, what we say, what we post, that energy will come right back to us. So if someone understood that, why would they post such things? Well, Troward said, most people don't understand that the creative process starts within our own self, within us. They believe in a limited life. Instead of calling for happiness, they call for hate. Instead of harmony, they're slamming people as doing less than or challenging things. They don't see beauty in the actions of many because they're focused on other people not doing enough. What I see in the hearts of the medical profession during these times is they are so dedicated to a solution, incredibly dedicated. But why get online and rip them apart that they're not doing it fast enough? Do you see what I mean? The creative energy we're creating in our own family, in our community, in our own mind. Because that negativity impacts our health, our happiness, our harmony. It's hard to be that negative and be in love with life. So we distribute energy. We are distributors of energy. Why would we want to distribute anything less than love and harmony? So many of you know, not all of you obviously, but many, that I've been corresponding with men in prison who found me one way or shape or form and asked me to help them learn the science of mind and how to put it into practice in their lives. The one I've corresponded with the longest, his name is Michael Nichols, and he wrote me in 2009. He found my name or some article I had written in Creative Thought magazine. And he wrote me and said, there's something here that I think can help me in my lifetime sentence for murder to adjust to this life, this realm of prison. And I wrote him back and he was so thrilled. So we've been corresponding since 2009. His letters were full of hate and anger. He had to get it all out of his system. Hate and anger for everything that had happened to him in life. And I just would gently say, well, in this philosophy, here's how we look at it. So months went by. And Over the years, I now call him the prison Buddha. He went from doing spiritual mind treatments to dissolve the bars on his cell to a deep realization of where he is, why he's there, and what the benefit is to him of being there. Right now, there are 3 things going on with Michael. He's writing a book for other prisoners because when you first get to prison, it's a very scary place. And he's been there for 22 years. So he's seen it all. Came in as a gangster and now he's a Buddha. And so he's writing a book about that. Also, he's putting together a portfolio because as he's worked with me with science and mind philosophy, he has taken many classes. He has helped other prisoners who are incapacitated. He has done much, much work. And the governor of the state of Missouri is trying to get a bill passed that people who are in prison for life, if they've done good, they could get pardoned. So he's putting that portfolio together. You know, and I understand the governor's idea because it's very expensive to keep people in prison for life. The third thing that's happening is I have saved every letter he wrote me for the last 11 years. And I'm typing them up and putting them into a book that hopefully will inspire other prisoners to consider the study of metaphysics, but also to inspire those who run the criminal justice system that so much more can be done to help these prisoners transform. It was interesting, in 2018, Home Office invited everyone to make a short story, 500 words or less, on a conversation between someone and Ernest Holmes. Most of the conversations that are actually printed in this wonderful hardback book, Conversations with Ernest, most of them are with very famous people like God. One was from a conversation between Pope Francis and Ernest. There's Gene Houston, Ken Wilber, Ralph Waldo Emerson, John Lennon, Albert Einstein, Jesus, the Dalai Lama. Well, I submitted one on a conversation between Michael and Ernest. And I used Michael's own words from about a 4-year period as he was starting to come from despair into his own realization of himself. And for Ernest, I use words strictly from the Science of Mind text. It's titled Striving for Ascension, and I hope you don't mind, I'd like to read it to you. It says here that the meeting between Holmes and Nichols could have taken place in the Southeast Correctional Institution in Charleston, Missouri. Michael, putting the science of mind into practice in prison is challenging. Every year, month, week, and day is a facsimile of the last. I'm alive, yet humans encased in concrete are like the living dead, oscillating between the past and the future. The present is where most don't want to be, so we give up that which we do not possess, our future. It's taken before it's even been touched. One who cannot see the end of his existence is not able to aim at an ultimate goal in life. But something called me to your teaching. Ernest responds, while bondage is an experience, there is a reality in which bonding is not real. Limitation in the individual use is what we make of principle. We cannot demonstrate beyond our ability to provide a mental equivalent for our desire. I think that was back when he was doing treatment to let the bars on his jail cell disintegrate, but I digress. Michael, I've been in solitary confinement for a minor infraction with a guard who believed his clothes gave him superhuman powers. During that time, I read This Thing Called You by Ernest. I learned so much about the world in which I dwell. I have been made ready for the part I must play in discovering my purpose of existence. I have accepted the calling. Recently, a guard verbally attacked me for having blue shoelaces in my shoes and was shocked when I found the inner strength to take the shoelaces out and give them to him. Now, because of my action, mystery has been added to my reputation, and I'm even more frightful by virtue of my new unpredictability. It's taken courage, faith, and flexibility to grow in this labyrinth of steel. Yet I have come to terms with who I am. The power of a committed mind exceeds any other force that I have come across in these lands. Ernest, your mind is as infinite as your capacity to understand your true relationship to God. No form is permanent. The formless is eternal. The will of spirit is peace, clear thinking, and happiness. It could have no other will. Michael, how I value these lands I have evolved in. Today, my status is as an individual connected to other individuals. I don't glamorize the ruthless prison lifestyle, but I understand it. My life is connected with others, even though they seem separate. My life is necessary to others. Ernest, to help those in need is indeed a great privilege, but the blind cannot lead the blind. Michael, your teachings have been a momentous advancement in my studies. I now have the knowledge I had acquired only in the form of axioms. A working knowledge of the law of cause and effect has rectified my thinking, and today I value my path regardless of the hardships or the length of time it takes. I dedicate myself to universal mind and use the gifts I have been endowed with to build wisdom and progress to the higher level of existence, for my very soul is striving towards ascension and a transcendent understanding of creation. He's a brilliant person. A brilliant person. So as Dr. Edward reminded us, there is a unique purpose for every life. Life is meant to be lived, and only we can live it. There's a great work in our life that wants to express through us, even if it's writing a short story 500 words long. There are new, fresh ideas all around us, so listen to the call for freshness in your life. And I'd like to end with another quote by Elizabeth when she was asked why she writes. She said, "I'm a child of God, and I'm unlike anyone else. I have a right to my own voice and a right to my own vision. I have a right to collaborate with creativity because I myself am a product and a consequence of creation. I'm on a mission of artistic liberation. Why? Why not?" So join me in a prayer for creativity in your life. Oh, great Spirit, the one who created all, at that moment of creation, bringing into being the energy that has carried all of us through many terms of existence, that continues to push the envelope of the universe, that continues to expand and grow. With all this unlimited energy and ideas floating out there, I accept your challenge, God. To every day look for the good. Look for what I can do to help spread not only this philosophy of goodness, but also to spread the creativity that abounds in our life. I look for newness. I look for freshness. And I know each of you, as you put this into practice in life, you will see things that you didn't see before. You recognize the power within yourself that you may not have seen before. We're surrounded in this energy of love. And it's up to each one of us to create happiness, love, joy, peace, power, beauty, all available to us, each moment, each day. So I acknowledge the truth that we've enjoyed hearing about today from Trevor, from Tim Nelson, from Elizabeth, all wrapped up today in this note of love that I offer to you. Thank you, God. And so it is.
Thank you, Mary. Very lovely. I always love to hear about Michael. I feel like I know him. So we appreciate everyone that shared the morning with us, and we continue to have deep gratitude for the monetary gifts that you send to the center. Mary's always excited when somebody pops by and hands her a check. I've seen her on Zoom, and she goes, "Oh, I got a check," and it's just lovely. We never take it for granted. We never take it for granted. So your gifts sustain us, and we appreciate that. So in closing today, we have a lovely closing song by our Dalton, and thank you again for joining us this morning. Blessings to you.
Stand on up, folks. If you don't know it, you will soon. I release and I know the Spirit in my life. My heart is alive. It's an only God. All trouble, no strife. My faith has no life. I am free in the Spirit. It's an only God. Oh, I release and I know. Let the Spirit in my life. My heart is alive. It's an only God. No struggle, no strife. My faith has no life. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only God. Oh, I release and I go. The Spirit of my life. My heart is alive. Yes, I'm only God. No struggle, no strife. My faith has no life. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only God. I release and I let go. The Spirit of my life. My heart is alive. Yes, I'm only God. No struggle, no strife. My faith has no life. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only God.